bunch of misfits I ever set eyes on.
Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning into another episode of the Misfit podcast. On today's episode, we have special guest, Misfit OG and director of the Purple Mountain Throwdown, Preston Shepard. Before we dive into all the good stuff, the live chat, checking in with Preston, talking through why the hell he would want to run a crazy event, all that good stuff. Just a tiny bit of housekeeping here. We got a 7-day free trial to jump into off-season block number 1. You can find that in our link in bio on social media or by heading to misfitathletics.com and clicking your way through onto Fitter. Also, in the kind of Misfit affiliate phase right now, that would be the friendliest, I'd say, to jump in at any point. So you've got a 14-day free trial on SugarWOD, StreamFit, and Push Press for Misfit affiliate. So make sure you jump into that. We're still, at the lab here, Misfit Gym Portland, seeing PRs left and right, people coming out of the open, all that good stuff. So definitely the kind of programming that keeps morale high post open before we jump into any biases. All right, Shep. So we do, as you probably know, we do live chat here to open the podcast. We'll give you some examples that'll probably be all over the place, but probably related to sports and golf that no one wants to hear. And then we will move on to the meat of the episode. I think I'm going to start with the Misfit Athletics baseball preview. I'm the kind of person that gets very excited about opening day and then forget, aside from the notifications my phone sends me, that baseball season is happening for a while, and then we kind of jump back in, which is probably a good thing because the Red Sox suck and Rafael Devers has more strikeouts in the first handful of games than Tony Gwynn had in an entire season with 585 plate appearances. I thought that was a pretty solid stat to open up the season. And the Yankees are cheating. So all is well here. I don't know, Seb, if you've got any Dodgers updates over there. You guys aren't cheating yet, but you probably only have a few more years of good faith. You've got it from me because of Mookie. I love Dave Roberts. I appreciate you donating Walker Buehler once his arms stop working. That was really friendly of you. But yeah, I don't know how long the Dodgers can stay America's sweetheart. Maybe it's the palm trees. I don't know what it is, but if you guys keep spending $10 trillion a year, I don't know how long you're going to be everyone's friend.
That's fair. I think what I would say about the Dodgers is we've always spent a lot of money and we've always come up pretty short. Other than the Mickey Mouse World Series we won back in 2020, I don't consider that a World Series. But I think the difference between a Yankees, and I know if Kyle's listening to this, he's going to be mad, but the Yankees fan base are just obnoxious, right? They'll never watch the Yankees all year. They just tune in for the postseason and then everybody claims a ring. I think with the Dodgers is it's they're battling with the Lakers, and I think the Dodgers are a good team because you have, like you said, Dave Roberts and Shohei Ohtani, and it's what's not to love? But I think if we become obnoxious like the Yankees, then it's we'll be hated pretty early. And we're 6-0, right? So we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, we're not 6-0. Hunter, you got anything? I bet you got a serious baseball preview here.
Yeah, big baseball preview. No, I mean, I grumbled about 24 hours ago about the fact that the golf course that's directly across from my window was covered in snow, but the weather has made it such that is not the case anymore. So I am 43% less irate than I was 24 hours ago, which is good.
Progress.
I'm not all that happy that we're getting 2 inches of rain, allegedly, which will keep the old course soggy, but I mean,
Yep.
I guess beggars can't be choosers. At least it's not the fucking another snowstorm. So
I keep telling my son that the snow's not coming back, and then it comes back. And we have this spot where basically L shape of trees blocks one area from getting melted.
Yeah.
So he just sits up and points because he wants to go down there and crunch his feet on it. He just
Yeah.
goes down and walks around and says crunch, 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 crunch.
Sick.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
just keeps coming back.
Yeah. We are 2 weekends away from major season though. The Masters in under, well, I guess now little under 2 weeks. So I'll definitely have a thoughtful and eagerly awaited by all of the listeners recap on the Masters when we shoot that podcast. So stay tuned.
How does Scotty lose on a public course? What happened there? Come on, Scotty.
I mean, he didn't lose. Minwoo Lee just played really well. Decided to get it going. But I mean, when the number one player in the world is finishing in like the top 5 in most times that he competes, you're gonna wanna look out when the course gets hard. So
Seb, this is a kid's show. What are you pulling up here? Every hole with Scotty Scheffler? What the
love
fuck?
that.
Step by step
What a
guide.
beautiful-
Oh my goodness, bro. What?
Dude, did you guys see Scotty's menu for the Masters? It was
It's awesome.
beautiful. It was
I do
beautiful.
like, though, I don't know if you heard last year, the old guys, the tortilla soup hurt their tummies. So he took it off the menu this year.
Too spicy.
People were like
God
shitting
damn
their
it.
pants at dinner.
That's funny. I
It's
actually
like-
didn't see what the menu was.
It's great. It's got a real like bro vibe to it. Like you can tell Scotty likes to go to Chili's.
Fuck.
I think he does.
Scotty
for
likes
sure. He's
Scotty
got it.
likes endless
Applebee's.
tortilla, tortilla chips and salsa.
Yeah.
Big tortilla guy.
What you got?
Oh man. So I kind of feel like I'm in like the dead zone of sports right now, just because I'm a
Okay.
huge like football fan. So like the second that football season ends, like every other sport, like I kind of get hyped for like March Madness a little bit, but like it's not
You're
the
almost
same.
forcing yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm just like I have to watch
Yeah.
something. Like the other day we were cooking dinner. I think it was like a Sunday, and my wife tried to get me to like put some sports on. I was like, there's nothing but like hockey going on right now, and like newsflash, I'm not the hugest hockey fan like in the world, but like
Are the Avs good this year?
honestly, the only hockey team I can tell you about right now is that I got into Colorado College, like the college team here. That's actually pretty
Sure.
good.
Really good.
And we got hyped up. I went to a game, and then they ended up losing to like Denver University. So like that was a huge letdown as well.
Another good hockey school.
Denver's also an excellent
Nah,
program.
D is
so.
pretty good for what I hear.
Avs
I
are
hear.
third in the Western Conference.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to
They have
be.
they have 2 of the best players in the NHL on their team, so that's usually helpful.
The biggest thing I've noticed about hockey is that like if I'm in person, I've gone to like 2 Av games, and those are fun. But like I just
Dude,
want I
such
wanna watch
a
it, like-
great sport
Yeah.
live, and you can take people that don't really know. Like maybe we'll cover 2-line pass and offsides, things of that nature. But like you don't have to really explain too much, and it's so impressive to watch. And like
is.
the place go nuts with the goals. Yeah. You got anything
By
else
the
going
end-
on in life?
It's Colorado, so like our weather decides to be like nice during the week, and then the second you want to go outside on a Saturday, it just decides to snow or hail or sleet on you.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to get into some more biking this summer, and every time I want to go on my long rides, like it's just Colorado's like no.
How similar is Colorado Springs weather to Fort Collins? Probably a little warmer.
Yeah, it is a little warmer. I mean, you have to go all the way to. It's crazy the difference between just like Colorado Springs, like Pueblo. But like I think
Okay.
the same
Yeah.
could be said from like Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. So yeah, we're gonna be a little bit warmer. The snow might be a little nicer to us.
Yep. All right. I wanted to ask, I don't remember how you got started with Misfit Athletics. What's the Misfit origin story?
Yeah, so like back in 2016, 2017, I was not deployed, but I was stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana at CrossFit Leesville. And at the time I was kind of helping run their competitive fitness team, like their competitive CrossFit team. So like I was doing like the coaching for our competitive athletes. And one of the members of that team suggested to me that we leverage Misfit Athletics, so they were following it for like their daily programming. I was only programming for like 2 days out of the week. They would just come and get like
Gotcha.
we would all just bury each other and like workouts. But he like lived and breathed by like the fact that this was like this crazy program that he started following, and like it was helping him reach a whole bunch of gains. So I decided to try it out because I've never been a GPP guy. Like I've never, even though I coached and did everything, I was just always the type of person where I was either doing my own thing or I was following a program. I don't know if it's just like in my nature to do so. But I started following Misfit Athletics back in like 2000, late 2016, early 2017, and I've never like looked back. Never been like a program hopper. So like I got on it and it just kind of fed to my soul. So I just started following.
I like it. Yeah, and you definitely immerse yourself in the community. I don't know, my memory for specific dates and whatnot are not great, but you definitely, started showing up at camps, and were, one of the people, and, you get your little like camp posses where everybody, starts to rent Airbnbs together and go out in the evening and whatnot. How did you, so we'll give a little bit of background here. I'll read some of my stuff. So Purple Mountain Throwdown, CrossFit competition, June 21st and 22nd in Colorado Springs. Website is thepurplemountainthrowdown.com. On Instagram, purplemountain_throwdown. You can find all of the stuff that you would need on Instagram through the link in bio. Signups are live through the end of May, but if you want a t-shirt, get your ass signed up in the next 2 weeks, basically. Right? Like April 15th is what you're looking for people to get signed up. So Purple Mountain Throwdown, this is year 2 for you. I think you pass a major test when you throw a larger scale competition and then decide to do it again for the second year. So I want to know, A, what made you want to do it in the first place, and then what went into the decision to do it again the second time.
Yeah, no, those are great questions. So for anyone that doesn't know, I was in the military for a long time. For in considering my life for a long time. Ever since I graduated from college, I commissioned as officer into the military. And I, at the same point in time, I started doing CrossFit. And throughout my time, having to move a lot and being kind of like a singular bachelor guy, like competing in CrossFit uh gave me a chance to not only kind of like fellowship with people, but really just kind of experience like achievement. I was thinking about it earlier, like the impact that just going to competitions and pushing myself and proving that I can do something to myself has like really formed me as a human. And I wanted to figure out a way to be able to give that back to people, because as you progress in like fitness and as you progress in like CrossFit, there's barriers to entries on like what level of achievement you're going to be able to reach as an athlete, right? We talk about that a lot at camp. Like if you're not willing to send it all to be like a games athlete, then like you're going to hit a ceiling eventually where like, what are you doing? Why are you doing CrossFit? What are you going to give back to this community that's helped you out? And for me, I felt like I was uniquely structured as a person who's been organizing things since he was like 23 years old, and connected in enough ways that like there was no large scale fitness competition here in this community in Colorado Springs. And even in like Colorado on the eastern part, there was only one competition that tried to do it for 2 days. And as I reached out and talked to the different gyms in the community, the only barrier to entry was that people didn't want to take the time to do it. And if that was it, then I was like, okay, like I can do that. Like I can connect with people. We can try to bring something where people can have the same experience that I had when I had a chance to compete at Waterpalooza, or when I had a chance to go down to Beach Brawl, and just really put everything that they're working so hard in the gym to the test. Like I feel like people shy away from testing all the efforts that they give in the gym. And a lot of times that's because it's scary or it's foreign. You have to travel to go do it. Like if we can just give these guys opportunities to test themselves, like they're going to get so much more out of their training, so much more out of the reason why they're doing fitness in the first place, which is going to keep them in it. And that's kind of what we want holistically as a community. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you can really find some things out about yourself and your fitness in those settings that you just can't really, like the open does it a little bit, maybe a partner workout where there's a showdown between your, matched arch nemesis, in the gym, but it's so hard to create those environments for people. Um, and I think it's cool that you have the divisions that you do because you provide a little bit of like a roadmap to get to the point where you might trust yourself enough to go individual, right? So you've got the scale division, you've got the team division. And I think those are really good ways to get a person to a point where they're like, yeah, I can go out there and execute on an individual level.
100%. Like I know at least 3 different athletes in just glide paths that they used the Purple Mountain Throwdown for last year. You know, we had a younger aspiring athlete who's trying to figure out if they are in fact a RX individual athlete yet. So they went on an RX team last year with a stronger teammate just so they can experience what it's like to be out there on the competition floor. We had a pretty advanced athlete who wanted to push her chances in the Masters category this year. She used the Purple Mountain Throwdown as her first competition in RX to make sure she was on track, and then went out to Wadapalooza and like podiumed in her division. And we had plenty of athletes try their first competition for the first time on a 2-day competition because it was a good environment for them, right? It was in their community. They drove out of their house, they went to the venue, and they competed in it. And I feel like, you know, especially I have a big heartstrings for the Colorado Springs community, so like I want them to have that chance to do it. It's Olympic City, USA. Why can't they compete in their own backyard? Why aren't we hosting something like that? And then opening that up to the world, you know, bringing everyone in from across the states to come celebrate.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so there's basically a void there that like someone else wasn't going to be willing to fill, and maybe there's, you know, in-house throwdowns or things of that nature that are around, but obviously you took on something much larger scale. It's not in a CrossFit gym, there's an actual venue, it's a multi-day, which I'm sure I've never ran a multi-day competition, or at least if I did, it was 10 years ago, and inside of my gym. I'm curious what things happened last year at the competition that you learned from that you were able to take into this year. Like anything that was, you know, cause like I'm telling everyone out there, like even just the smaller stuff that we put together, like it's a challenge for sure. Like, it's not an easy thing keeping shit organized and running well.
For sure. I think there's probably 3 big things. The first one is going to be for anyone that knows me, but if you're listening to this podcast and maybe you don't know me quite as well, some people think that like this is what I do for like my job. It's not. I have a full-time job, and we try to work with all the volunteers to still make this event happen throughout the year. With that being said, it's a lot of stuff like you was saying. And when last year, it didn't exist. It was an idea on our whiteboard in the back here, and we bootstrapped it and created it into existence. And when you do that, you have to start from scratch, from zero for everything. Any documents, any volunteer packets, any athlete packets, any scorecards, any frameworks for what the floor plan layout looks like, any timelines for when people should show up to what space, what does athlete control it like. And when it's your idea and if you're not working on it, nothing's happening, like that takes a lot of time. And we tend to like want to hold our baby in and like not share it out to other people that want to support you. And you can really easily reach burnout like that. And I definitely think that, you know, if you saw me during the days of the competition, I was zombied out, happy, but I was zombied out. And it's because I didn't share until the very end, because I wanted to try to set up people with as much chance of success as possible. Luckily, I have amazing friends and volunteers. But this year, I'm definitely delegating a little bit more and reaching out to all those people who want to help, and spreading that stuff out. I think the second thing is going to be when you're running a 2-day event, maybe ensure that you know, for your logistics plan, if you're moving in 6 gyms worth of equipment, maybe hire some movers and not just try to do it yourself in house. Because my buddy, my best man at my wedding, Mac, who's my operations director, he literally. Him and like one other person moved 6 gyms like worth of equipment to the venue, and then helped me adding a third person out of the venue. And it all night we were just moving and staging stuff. And then I think the last one is to remain flexible, right? Last year we had 2 kind of things that happened that we were able to adjust and overcome. The first one's funny to me because, so like I said, we have been moving all night, and this includes like stall mats, guys. Like I didn't have I don't have anything. Like we got stuff now, but like we didn't have anything before. It's a bootstrap thing. So like we budgeted enough to get like 20 stall mats, and then we pulled 60 from my home gym. Right. So we're physically pulling these stall mats and moving them out.
That's a rite
And
of
it's like,
passage.
yeah, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. The competition starts at 7. And the only thing that had me going was my delivery of like barrier gates was supposed to come in at like 4 o'clock. And that like would complete what my vision was for the floor. Right. And that would like make me feel better as like an event director. And then I get this call at 4 o'clock that the guy overslept, and he wasn't going to make it in time to actually set up these gates that we paid for. And he called me, and he didn't even come up with like an excuse. He just said, "Hey man, sorry, I overslept, and yeah, I just don't think we're going to make it in time. I'm sorry for the inconvenience." I was like, are you crapping me right now? Are you kidding me right now? Like you called me to tell me that you're not going to show up to establish this event that I paid you a couple Ks for, like has like 150 plus athletes showing up to it. Like you're not just failing me on this one. Like why are you talking to me about this right now? And then having to kind of bounce back mentally because it destroyed me. I was like, no one's gonna take this seriously. There's not barrier gates. Like like it's not gonna happen. But it went great. And then we also had the athlete village outside at the beginning on day 1, because we thought that made sense logistically, but the traffic flow just didn't work out. And, the vendors came up to our experience director at the time and talked to her about it and talked to me about it. And then we moved them all inside the next day, and it was like a game changer. It was so much better. The flow was so much better, and staying flexible, I think, is like the biggest thing that we want to carry over.
Yeah, and I mean your ability to do that when you are delegating, like this time around, because you have to remain open because there are these like tiny little events that happen that you are uniquely qualified to respond to. And if you're doing 17 other things, then that moment becomes the thing that the like in our case, the members would remember. Like, oh, they didn't have this part figured out or whatever. But it's like, no, if each person has their like thing to do, then they're able to respond within that. So I hope for you that you'll find that when you do delegate, that you then have the opportunity to deal with the things that make it a really good experience for the athletes.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I want to shout them out too, because my staff are key event leaders. So we have floor leaders for each floor of the rotating floor schedule that goes on. Like they crushed it. They like took it over, and that was their child, like each day, whatever event they had. And then our event experience coordinator, our head judge, my wife, Abby, she crushed it, handled all those issues and questions so that Preston could sit like a zombie, staring at things until Preston needed to go deconflict something. So like I'm thoroughly
I
blessed
like
and
that you've
thoroughly.
disassociated from the version of yourself that's the event director. You already know that that's not you. That's good.
100%.
So one of the things that we've said on this podcast before, and it's the kind of thing that would take time, but it would also take that first wave of people. I would really love for your event to be a place and time where misfits from all over the country like came together. Just a really cool place to be. I'm obviously a big fan of the state of Colorado. I've talked about that before on this podcast, but knowing that we could recommend something that we put a bunch of time and effort into with the programming, and have it not just be all 12-minute pulling gymnastics workouts like every other fucking competition. Sorry. Like I think it would be really cool for that to happen. So it's just another call to the misfits out there to say, like, listen, if we get, a group of misfits that want to go out, it doesn't matter if it's scaled, RX, team, individual, and I would be stoked to come out and hang out. Bring Seb along and, point the camera at you guys and get to know you a little bit better in person. Those are the things that really help solidify the community. So I don't know, sort of what that looks like, right now. But it's just another call out there to the people in the Misfit community that, like, if you're going to travel to a comp, I can tell you right now, Colorado in June is pretty awesome. And I think the workouts are pretty good. I'm a little biased, but I think it would be really fun to have that sort of thing, because it was always fun when that event was like Wadapalooza or something, but also really easy for like those types of meetups and things to get lost in the shuffle because of how crazy it is and how many things are going on all at once.
I agree. I think the unique thing about, the prospect of having the Purple Mountain Throwdown be like a meeting point for all misfits is that, like, so when you have Waterpalooza, it's this huge, huge, huge event, thousands and thousands of people like everywhere, all different walks of life. It can be overwhelming at times. Even if you're not competing, if you're just trying to walk around and just like interact with people. And, we want to grow as a competition and get to that larger scale. But the beautiful thing about having a larger scale competition that's not quite at the size of like Wadapalooza is that you really do have that community aspect, in the sense that you do kind of get to know your competitors, you do kind of get to know your community, you do kind of get to know the staff that's running out there. And I think it would be a beautiful thing for, all the misfits listening to this podcast and that follow the program to be able to come together at something that's not as big a threat as like Wadapalooza, and just really kind of like enjoy each other and like validate our own training and see our own progress and cheer on each other in this environment.
Yeah, totally agree. So we have 3 workouts so far that have been announced. Hunter, you're going to jump in here and maybe help the people out a little bit. So you're listening to this podcast, and we're going to give you some insight. Hunter, you can go with strategy. You can go with here's what you should work on in the meantime, like that sort of thing.
I'm only seeing 2 right now on the website. Are we
I'll read
saying
them
part
to you.
A? Okay.
I'll read them to you. Don't worry. All right. So event 3, 7 rounds for time, 16/12 calorie echo bike, 2 rope climbs, 20 alternating dumbbell snatch with the 50/35. What would you do to strategize and or train for this event?
I mean, like, so when I was kind of reviewing, looking at some of the workouts, it's like the first thing that I would want to do is figure out like what the general time domain is probably going to be for me, and then what like maybe the stimulus looks like.
Sure.
And when I obviously saw this workout a while ago, said like, okay, I'm looking at in the neighborhood of a minute on the bike, 2 rope climbs, take somewhere between like 15 and 20 seconds. And this obviously depends on Preston's floor layout and stuff like that. Dumbbell snatch, 20, hopefully unbroken reps for what I have to assume for most of those athletes will be is in the neighborhood of like 45 to 50 seconds. And that puts you in like a 14 to 16 minute kind of time domain with, there's obviously some leeway there, but the point there is more or less to be like, okay, I'm going to finish this in 14 to 16 minutes and think about it more as like, okay, this is not a come out hot sort of workout. It's 7 rounds. It's like, I think there will eventually start to be a minor grip factor, like between rope climb and dumbbell snatching for some people. Other people will not have that issue at all, but you're going to spend the most amount of time of any single movement on that bike. And so learning, I'd say from a training perspective, learning what a sustainable bike pace is for that workout is probably my number one priority. And you could think to yourself, well, it's, what is that, 70, 112, 113 calories of total time spent on the bike. You're probably not at any point sprinting to get out ahead on that thing. So I'd say like you would benefit heavily from learning exactly what the appropriate sort of 15-minute-ish bike pace is, knowing that the other 2 movements are like, you don't really speed those up too much. There's not a whole ton of time between the fastest and slowest rope climber, at least, theoretically kind of at the top of the competitive arc. And then the dumbbell snatch, again, if it's 20 unbroken reps, arguably the only thing that's going to dictate a time change or a variance in time is literally how tall someone is, how far the dumbbell has to travel. So very much a like know your pace on the bike sort of thing, assuming that we're moving pretty consistently on the rope climb and more than likely unbroken dumbbell snatches throughout that workout.
And if you have we're recording this on April 1st. and this competition's in June, I'm like, I just had this conversation with an athlete who in the past hadn't tested events. Like, I would really need an athlete to have one hell of a case as to why they weren't going to test a workout. It
For
just
sure.
seems insane. And maybe you're just going for vibes and like thumbs up to you, get after it, do your thing. But like, I consider this a level up from a merry-go-round style open workout where it's like, you know, the rower a little bit better. It's much, I don't know, it's much more fair to more people than the Echo Bike is.
Sure.
And then the rope climb obviously is a very manageable dose, but it is still 14 rope climbs. And I was just at a competition, Fittest of the Coast, where, man, people climbing the rope inefficiently not only screwed up their workout and shot their heart rate through the roof.
It's my favorite thing to watch.
I actually think it fucked up their weekend. I think that adrenaline just through the roof and pulling with your forearms and your biceps, being that jacked up and doing that, I think it affected people for the pulling gymnastics the rest of the weekend. Like that seemed to be really obvious to me. And it's the kind of thing where like maybe you're not cooling down properly or whatever, but like there is some element of like that might be the most slow is smooth, smooth is fast movement that there is. Like chill the fuck out. You don't have to jump as high as you possibly can. You don't have to Noah Olsen it and put your feet on your hands and then somehow find a way to fit your body back up the rope. Like you don't need to do those things. And then honestly, when it comes to the Echo Bike, it's like, you really, that to me is the machine that people are the least precise on and have to be the most precise. Like people's like intuition on that thing is ass backwards because honestly, 300 watts, 275 watts is going to feel dumb at the beginning of that workout. And then you're going to pass everybody.
Yeah.
And like maybe if you're a bigger athlete and that's 350, 375 watts, obviously we've got a range here, but like there's something so weird about that machine with the resistance level being where it is. Like, yeah, you get the graph, goes way up when you start going faster, but it just ruins you. It absolutely annihilates your body. And it's obviously very upper body dependent as well. So going to those other two movements is not going to be very fun.
Yeah.
Preston, thoughts on this workout?
Man, so I loved watching the testing for this one when we were testing athletes, because shout out to CrossFit Mobile for doing our team testing on it, and then we had some athletes here in Colorado Springs test out the individual version of it, and like you highlighted, the biggest difference was people who could stay patient and controlled and be efficient on the rope climbs and not go out of the gate trying to like prove something to somebody, were able to stay calm and then sit on the bike and bike in a manner that helped them stay fast throughout the entirety of the workout. I feel like 3, 2, 1, go for this one, because especially since the floor plan is going to have them moving down a little bit to the rope, not like a terrible distance, but moving to the rope. Whenever you have other athletes moving, like you immediately start thinking you need to go faster, right? Like it's going to be this feeling of like, oh man, I got to get off this bike because like 3 more people just got off this bike and they're already doing rope climbs, which seems like a very fast movement. But I'm interested to see what athletes have that athlete IQ to not stay in their lane, but like stay focused and commit to their plan, so that they can like do this workout the most efficient as possible.
I mean, with the number of rounds and it's a triplet, the number of rounds, I again in my head kind of visualizing a floor layout of having to move like from a bike forward to a rope, from a rope forward to a dumbbell, and then from a dumbbell back to a bike. You're looking at 21 transitions. 3 seconds per transition is already just a minute added to your time just of nothing. And it's like, if like you can walk that or you can jog it, and like you can just find a free minute of time in that workout. So
I mean, you look at it.
Is my estimate right, roughly, and as far as testing went, Preston?
As far as it's time for like transitions between?
No, him saying it was
like
14
overall,
to 16 minutes.
I was saying like 14 to 16 overall. I know you guys
Yes,
have
yes.
that
So
18-minute
in
cap,
order
but
to complete the workout, generally athletes finish at sometime between, I would say, 15 to 16 for testing.
Dude, 14
Um,
would be tough. Like,
yeah,
because
that's
yeah,
moving.
definitely on the fast end of that.
and that's the trap, right? Like a 2-minute round wouldn't be that hard to do. Then it's like, yeah, you got you got 7.
The math checks out. The transitions aren't really factored in, but yeah, I think it's definitely doable. But okay, yeah, good to know.
This next event was actually supposed to be at, well, one portion of this event was supposed to be at a competition that we had, and Hunter and Kyle voted this version of the workout out. So anyone who's mad about 4 minutes max calorie row into a lift can thank Hunter and Kyle, because it was supposed to happen to our members. Now, I will say it wasn't voted out because we thought it was bad. It was like, this is a community event and we want people to like have fun and more opportunities to, do X, Y, and Z. Also one day competition. So event 4, part A, is a 4-minute max calorie row, which is just giggity for me. Anytime we have this, like, it's calories, so people don't know how fast to go, even though they could look it up. They don't know how fast to go. There is a little bit more, like, you get more bang for your buck. Again, that, more exponential curve versus, the linear, when it comes to distance. And then it's a weird time domain, right? It's not a 2K and it's not a 1K, and it's just kind of an odd thing. Now, if you're a misfit, you know what one round of the cube test feels like, so you have some sort of context there, but you better be going harder than that in this. But how hard do you go? You have a 1-minute transition into find a 2-rep max touch and go snatch, and that is in 5 minutes, correct? I didn't write that
5
down.
minutes. Yep, 5 minutes.
Yep. Okay, Hunter, coach, what do we do?
Well, I mean, like, this is it. You
It's 2
gotta,
scores.
out of curiosity, I was gonna say, is it 2 scores both worth the equivalent of a workout? Like, say, is it
Yes.
like 50? Yeah. So, I mean, I think that is like, as much as I
They're
don't
fully,
like,
it's 100 points, right, Preston?
It's
They're
100
2
points,
full events. Yeah.
2 full events,
yes,
each one's worth 100 points.
it's weird. As much as I don't like to where it's like you potentially have to game one before the other. Like, I think you do. And I think it obviously, it depends on your proficiency with the snatch, for sure. That I think that kind of dictates how hard you go, because the difference between, man, like, across such a small window of rowing, like a 10-calorie difference is pretty substantial. Like, but if that difference is like, oh, I can find 10 additional calories by rowing a lot harder, but I lose like 15 or 20 pounds on a snatch, or I'm failing snatches left and right. It's like, what's the cost benefit to that? And that's where it's like, are you a proficient, like, how well do you move? I do like that element. I think anytime that you force an athlete to express athleticism and like movement proficiency under fatigue, you really get the best athletes that that are on top of the leaderboard. Is it a dictated squat snatch, or is it just touch and go snatch anyhow?
Touch and
Yeah,
go snatch anyhow.
I would have made him squat snatch, but
I mean, jokes on anyone. Like, if your pull is still around for the party, then I
yeah,
don't know.
also fair enough,
Congratulations.
right? It's like there is the element of that too. You have to know, like, what does that pulling hard on the rower do to your ability to pull the bar off the floor. And I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's still going to challenge the movement efficiency component of how well you do the most complicated lift in the world. So yeah, it is like, unfortunately, in a way, not like you can't just absolutely send it on the row.
Right.
But I mean, then again, like, I don't know, maybe is there an athlete who is extraordinarily proficient at rowing but not good at snatching? Like, is it a small, like, is there a,
Well, see,
Has there-
you're
is-
getting
is-
into
are you a-
now. The reason you can talk yourself out of it is because there's gamesmanship here where you don't know. Like, if this was at semifinals of the CrossFit Games, you're 100% right, because those athletes are jammed so close together that like first and 20th is more points than 10th and 10th. You know, we've had that conversation a bunch of times, and so if you think about it from that perspective, maybe you do it that way. But if you're in a battle, like if there's like in a lot of times in these competitions, there's only 2 to 5 people who really have a shot at the top.
Yep.
And if you dog one and you lose the entire event because you did that, but then again, there's so much gamesmanship to it, which is what I was hoping to have there. Because like, okay, so the best scores that we have on the cube test, people are in the neighborhood of 1,500 calories per hour. I don't think anyone's hit 1,600 for an average. So you're looking at essentially 100 calories in a window. I think plus or minus 10 will be a band that makes a whole lot of sense. 90 to 110, something in that range. And like, maybe you want to find out before what 90 feels like and what 110 feels like. They don't feel similar. I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at, right? Like the swing, just the effort required to get 10 more calories is like that's a non-trivial increase in effort that might result in like someone who could say try to snatch 225 or something. It's like that's maybe 205, that becomes 185 as a safe lift, and I hope I can get 205 over my head. And then it's like maybe it was a 5 calorie difference and you could confidently hit that 205 number, something like that. So definitely a bit of gamesmanship along with strategy.
Tall and aerobic would be your best bet.
I was gonna say that is a big
if you could toss a coin,
big boy and girl
tall
like
and aerobic
workout.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about this one, Seb? Not Seb, Preston. Seb, what do you think about this one, dog?
I can't do any of these, so they're all hard.
4-minute max
row for
calorie
4
row.
minutes.
Everyone can do a 4-minute.
Yeah.
I think that's the most beautiful thing about it is that like, while it looks daunting, like everyone can in fact do this workout. It's the same workout across all divisions, right? And the beautiful thing is that like, unlike some competitions where there's no cost to lifting, when it's just like a 1 rep max, the winner's kind of just decided by who shows up. Like you can't magically gain 100 pounds in your snatch to catch up with someone who can snatch 100 pounds more than you. But in that same breath, the way that it's been set up this year, and even in the way that we did the lifting workout last year with microbrew, you have to pay a tax in order to show your athleticism in your lift. And in this year's iteration of it, the tax is worth 100 points, right? So you can't hold back because you're gonna like be able to rip and grip on the barbell because you might lose a whole entire event to somebody that you don't want to lose it to. And I'm also happy that it's a snatch. I think a lot of times like we just see cleans like all the time in competitions, and I think giving people the chance to show what they've been working on the snatch and keeping it open so you can power snatch if you want to. I think we're going to have some really fun moments during this workout.
Oh hell yeah, for sure. All right. I don't know. This next one, Hunter, could you take the W on this bad boy? Could you show up at the Purple Mountain Throwdown and win 4 rounds for time, 10 dumbbell box step overs with the 60s/40s over 24/20 inches, 50-foot farmer's carry, 6 burpee bar muscle ups, 50-foot farmer's carry. This has got your name written.
We went 4 rounds on that.
Yep.
4 rounds.
I got a little squirrely after 3.
Yeah. Well, I saw 4 to 5 rounds in the sheet, and I was like, okay, this is what we're looking at. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm super biased. I like step overs. I like grip. Grip is something that I favor. Burpee bar muscle ups are fun.
I figure you like
burpee
burpee pull ups, so
yeah,
you should be
one
fine
of those
with
weird movements that like kind of that almost like defined my early CrossFit days. Like, man, sealfit.com loved their 150 burpee pull-ups.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like,
8,000 for time.
yeah, run 3 miles, 150 burpee pull-ups, run
Wear a
3
gas
miles.
mask.
Like, yeah, wear a gas
Ankle
mask
weights.
backwards and your ankle weights and a bulletproof vest. Yeah, I mean, I'll do the like I similar kind of deal here. Like, I like this is going to have a bit much bigger spread, I think. I mean, I guess that the first one too, with it being 7 rounds, like, is going to naturally spread people out. But similar here, just the metabolic demand of the step overs and the burpee bar muscle ups. Like, man, round 3, the fastest and slowest burpee bar muscle up are going to be like, I don't know, like 14 or 15 minutes apart. You know, has the potential for that to be the case. But Preston, is the 50-foot lane a continuous lane? Is this like, you've got your boxes, you carry across to a rig, do the rig stuff, carry back to the boxes sort of deal?
Yes,
Yeah.
the lane will be 50 feet for the carry continuously, no turning
Yeah.
around.
Beautiful.
Yep. So I had like the step overs. Like, again, it's weird because like early on, I don't see a situation where you like deliberately break that up super early. And so you're looking at anywhere from like probably 30 to 60 seconds. 30 is pretty quick. 60 seconds once sadness kicks in. That's kind of like a later round sort of time. And then it's like there's a bit of the strategy of like, do I in fact just hold on, like finish that 10th step over and just cruise through? I have to imagine people are going to do that. And then burpee bar muscle ups are really kind of your pacer in this movement. Like, you try to do those too fast, like that next set of step overs are not going to be very much fun. And like, again, it's like, do I farmer's carry? This could be like one of those DT sort of situations where like later on I do my burpee bar muscle ups, I farmer's carry to the box, and I immediately get, say, 6 of them done. I set the dumbbells down, shake out the grip, and then I do 4 so that I can just like finish that 4th one and immediately do that farmer's carry. So I had like 20 seconds of farmers carrying total in the round. So like basically like 10 seconds kind of per 50 feet. And then again, 6 burpee bar muscle ups. That's 30 seconds when you're fresh and giddy. And that's a minute and a
4
half,
hours later.
Yeah. A minute and a half when you're sad. So I had that in like a 2.5 minute round ish. Like a minute and a half, blazing fast, not sustainable. 2.5 with some sadness. So I kind of averaged out to like 2:15. So you're looking at like 8 to 10 minutes for a 4-round version. I don't know what, I did not see on the website what that looked like as a time cap or
Time cap's 12, right, Preston?
12 minutes for the time cap.
yeah.
Yep.
So 8 to 10 minutes with a 12-minute cap sounds about right. But there are going to be, it's probably closer to like, if you crack 10 minutes, you're probably looking in maybe the top 5. And then there's going to be a lot of folks who are not done at 12 minutes. How's my timing on that with testing?
Oh, you're good. You're good. Most people, we had our individual tester, Nate, is like the perfect avatar for this competition. He's like right there with like all his skill levels, but not like so good that he's going to put out some crazy score that like I can't really base it off of. And he finished it in around like 10:05. So like, he was good, or actually, no, he's finished at sub 10, like 9. It was a high 9 that he finished it in, because he was very smart about when he broke up his, dumbbell box step overs. He did in fact start doing it towards the back end to complete the 4 rounds. And he was able to stay very smooth on his burpee bar muscle ups, but like you could see the sadness in 4K like each round. Like it just got kind of sadder and sadder and sadder. So it's like, and we were testing it. Like I said, we were testing up to 5 rounds. And so when he got on this 5th round, I just felt really bad for him because I knew in my head, I was like, yeah, we're going to stop this at 4, but I just need to see him finish this real fast just to make sure I'm not crazy on this time cap deal. And if, this is an interesting workout to me, because it's a great amount of rounds, and I like it's one of my favorite movements. Like anything with a bar muscle up, I love. With one of my most hated movements, which is a box step over. like I cannot stand a box step over. So I know for me personally, it would be something where like my strategy would probably have to be to break it from the beginning. That way I can do that directly from my second set of box step overs into the walk, and then like try to be as efficient as possible in the bar muscle ups to get the best time possible. I'm interested in this one. I'm super interested in what the team version looks like, because this is a almost fully synchroned iteration for the teams where they're stepping over the same times and they're locking out the top for their bar muscle ups at the same time. So that's going to be fun to see what happens.
Oh man,
Fuck
that's such a sneaky, like, just
Bye-bye triceps.
adding that time under tension. Like that'll be spicy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. This one begs to be practiced like at least twice, because upper body endurance is such a weird thing, right? Like there's multiple things to take into account. So like there are athletes who are incredibly aerobic that don't have good grip strength, which puts them in a weird position in this type of workout. And when I think about it, it's like, okay, you do need to be smart. You do need to pace it, but the upper body doesn't do great with like everything's even and broken up in this nice, cute, like, okay, we're going 5 and 5. And then, we're doing this. And if I step down, I'm going to be okay here in my burpee, whatever it is. Like the upper body typically, like we always talk about negative splits, the upper body likes positive splits. It's like, use me when I'm fresh and then be smart at some point. But that line is so fine.
Yeah.
Like I think it would take me, because I'm not aerobic and don't have grip strength, like I think it would take me 3 times through practicing this to figure out like what the best thing is to do.
There's really
the thing
only
that I can say from the coaching aspect is on the farmer's carry and the step overs, move fast or don't move.
exactly.
That's one of the reasons why people don't
run
like
with those
step
fucking
overs.
dumbbells.
People don't like step overs because they hold on to the damn things for too long and they move slow. Like move your ass and then set the dumbbells on the box.
Yeah.
Like that's what you do. Like, but people don't. They're like, oh, I'm going to settle in. This is heavy. I don't need to, go crazy fast or whatever. And it's like, hey, making the step over slower fucks your legs. And obviously holding on to that dumbbell any longer than you need to is a problem. So I think it would feel weird for people to do. But like my first thought was the whole DT thing of stopping a rep or 2 or 3 early, like Hunter said, to then pick it up, do that quick thing, and then go straight into work on whatever is next for a amount of reps, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I could see someone doing well in this workout with 3 sets on the step overs in rounds 3 and 4, where you walked back and did a few, set them down, did your middle set, made sure you were ready for another farmer's carry, did like 2 and bombed down. Like that sort of thing. I could see something like that working for someone who really had to game this type of workout.
And I mean, you gotta like it, if you haven't practiced with those dumbbells either. Like I kind of honestly keep glossing over the fact that that's 20% heavier than what most people are used to, right? With 50s and 35s, it's like that is a non-trivial like weight increase, and I think that's probably like my math on the fast end is like that's probably not realistic. It is probably more like that 10 to 12 minute range for most, like sub 10 and your top 5, top 3 in that workout, 10 to 12 for most, 12 plus for some.
Yeah.
12, maybe 12 plus for many, but
For me,
I definitely like a test workout sort of situation, like figuring out the right burpee bar muscle up cadence. That can save you a little bit, especially with like your kind of longevity in your grip. But it sucks, like the positive split thing, like absolutely agree with the upper body, but like there's almost like there's only one fucking opportunity to do it, and it's like that first set of 10, and it's like, okay,
Sure,
then I got to carry, now I got burpee bar muscle ups, now I got a farmer's carry, and now it's like, okay, that didn't take very long for the metabolic demand to sink in, and my grip is fucked. Like, is it unbroken, then it's 2 sets, and then it's 3 sets. I think athletes should be open to that and kind of going by feel in that grip component because again, if you just think about
It's event 5 too. That is a
Perfect. You can be
whole
warmed
different
up for
thing than
prime.
testing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, 60s. I don't know about all that. No, I think I could still hang. I think I could still hang. I'm not winning it, but that does look like a fun workout.
What's I'm gonna put you on the spot, Shep.
Oh
What are
man.
you comfortable with teasing for the chipper?
Mm.
It can be nothing. That's okay. I just after the testing, I was like, man,
Give me a hint as to which
the final.
one were okay. Yeah.
I think you know, if it's just me teasing, I think there was an element last year of movement that there's a huge list of movements we weren't able to do, but there's a very classic movement in CrossFit that we're very excited to bring to the Throwdown this year that wasn't able to be included last year. And when we're gonna test it in such a way that you're really going to be able to show either your proficiency at that movement or it's going to show you where maybe you should go back and keep training. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be a very pivotal part of this chipper, and I think it's going to be a great event to witness and participate in.
The tail end of that bad boy is going to be interesting.
Here's what I'll say about this. I won't say what any of the movements are, but I will say that you have to game the shit out of this workout. If you go into this workout with your chest puffed out, you will crumble at the end, even if you're good at the movements, which I think is fun. Like I just need to have that element as part of the test somewhere. And also the drama of what could happen with certain athletes being in a certain position going into that and having something entirely different tested, especially at that point in the weekend. Like that's a whole nother part of conversations you have to have with athletes. It's like, hey, a lot of times these events will announce, kind of one at a time and we're testing as we go. But normally we put it first in the day. Maybe it's after a rest day, it's this lovely warm up and it's your playlist and there's no judge and there's no transition across the floor. And so you think you know what you're getting yourself into. And then you go to do that first set of something and it doesn't feel the way it did when you were fresh. Weird. Like 6 workouts at that level of intensity in 2 days is no joke.
No, definitely gonna be fun. Even when my wife was the one that tested this, and she's a pretty good athlete. And I don't think whenever we test, I ask the athletes what their strategy is, but I never like tell them what to do unless I think it's just gonna completely mess up the workout.
You do here.
I'm just like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And they can usually tell by like how much I kind of nod my head whether or not I think that's a good idea. But she just went like straight into it, and it caught up.
She's also good at the movement.
She's also very good at the movement.
Hinting at.
Yes, very good at
the trap.
Yes, all the confidence in the world just flattened. But she did great. She did great because she might listen to this. She did amazing.
It has been. That was going to be my question if it has been tested or not.
Yeah,
it's been tested. Yes,
individual and team.
Okay, what about event 1? What teasers can we put out there for event 1? If you've ever been to a competition that we have programmed.
yeah, I would say that. Like that's the biggest thing. If you've ever been to, if you competed at the Purple Mountain Throwdown last year, I think even if you follow like Misfit athletics, even if you've gone to like a camp or something like that, and you don't think there's going to be something, that tests you, and I'll say a longer duration. Honestly, I'll just say a longer duration workout. Then you're mistaken, right?
Which number of reps did you choose for this?
So it's actually entirely different.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
this is different from
some
the.
of our oops.
Some of our
Seb,
hiking routes are
Seb, you're gonna have to bleep that part or cut that part. Some of the things that we looked at maybe were not in a time domain that we thought they may be.
Yeah.
It's funny is I had an
understand
entire story I wanted to tell, but now I realize it will give away too much of the workout.
that. Sorry to
I'll-
interrupt, Sheb.
I'll abbreviate a little bit here. So we come up with the name Misfit, but I was still in college, hadn't come home, started the CrossFit gym yet. And we made t-shirts, and based on, I think, the Every Second Counts games, you guys remember this, where the CrossFit games was a total time score?
Oh
It was
yeah.
absolutely insane. So no one had any fucking idea what was going on. So we had standards for those workouts that you had to be able to hit to get the t-shirt. And obviously I had the t-shirt because I made it and designed it. So I don't know if I hit the standards or not, but I got to have one because it was mine. I did the 2008 games with this other person, my roommate in college, but at elevation. And there was one part of it that, holy shit, like there are pictures of me laying down on the ground, and like I had never been so like hypoxic in my life. Like the stars that I was seeing, because we actually went like outside to do it, and we went like up in elevation a little bit. Oh my God. That was like a life-changing experience. Being a sea level for life person and exercising there is a whole thing. So I guess I will say to the Misfits, as you're being convinced to go to this, don't like fly in the day of.
Are the movements roughly the same?
Oh, the movements are everything's almost everything's
Okay,
the same.
all right,
It's just a rep scheme change to make it fit with a schedule and potentially not have people carried off in a stretcher.
We're getting soft. Fucking
and then event 2. Anything that you would like to say about event 2?
I think event
Any
2 is
teaser?
the best. It's going to be the best display of confidence, and I think that's going to be like the trend throughout. People who are successful in this workout is going to be whether you have already done the work to have that confidence, or if you're going to kind of find your wild, as we say, and just commit to completing the work required, and embodying that confidence, because I think people who second guess themselves in this one, who get too much in their head, is going to destroy them. But I think people who come into it with a plan, and then come into it with the mindset that they're just going to they're going to go. I think those are the people who are going to be successful. And even if you're not, I think you're going to get way more out of that workout if you do just commit and
Can be overpaced.
confidence. Yeah.
100%. Hunter, you've got process of elimination, so you can probably figure out what this is.
I was just
and
confirming
the
how
order of
much
the
it
events
changed.
The order of events is different. I don't remember what I sent you. I think it's the
Purple
same.
Mountain 25 is the name of the
Alright.
sheet. I don't know if that.
Let's see. Yes. So this on that sheet is
I mean, I got process of elimination down here.
sure.
Is it what's typed in there?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we changed. We didn't
Yeah,
change
We
anything
didn't
about
change
it.
anything about this, did we?
No.
It is.
Sure didn't.
It is very aesthetically pleasing.
It is.
And I do quite like an aesthetically pleasing workout.
It's a throwback too. The combination of movements.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
The combination of movements is very much a throwback. It goes back to the roots of something that was programmed somewhat regularly and known as a devastating combination, but in a weird kind of way.
Yeah.
Not like my heart's going to pop out of my chest kind of a thing. More like, is my body going to come along for the ride on the back half of this trip?
This was like this
All
was
right,
this
brain,
one was
here
probably
we
my
go. Legs, like, wrong, bitch. We're staying here.
this one was probably my favorite like named workout that I did. Like Seb, I know you're on the profile. This one's called Scramble. Because I looked at the definition of scramble, like just straight up definition, and it just fit so well in my mind, like for what this workout like actually is. Just because when you're by the time you're scrambling up a mountain, like you don't have very far to go, but it might be awkward. You might have to to overcome some stuff. You might have to
This one
move
isn't,
it away.
isn't announced yet, is it?
It's not
Oh,
announced, but
geez.
I have dropped some of the names of the workouts. And I will say that the second portion, if you haven't process eliminated it, Scramble is going to be coming out in our second release of workouts, and that is this workout. I'm trying to see if we can scroll up, Seb. Keep going up. Keep going up. It's going to be a straight up mountain right there. Down. Down. The one that's just a straight up mountain.
Got it.
Yeah. You got the definition.
That first GIF is pretty good.
That is fucking spot on.
I think that gets the general idea across it. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is yeah, I agree with what you said. I think it's I like workouts like this because like there are a lot of ways to kind of, I don't know, scramble most of the way up the mountain, and like there's going to be, or I guess there's one way to go up and there's a lot of ways to go down. I guess maybe that's the best way to put it without completely dropping the bomb here, but it's
that ending, if that's not your jam, that's
yeah,
just
you're
like,
gonna.
it's funny because two of the people right now on this podcast would love the end.
I was gonna say
and two of the people
quite
would
enjoy
not
this.
like the end very much, and it's one of those, they're just movements that we do where you sometimes you see someone else do it and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
we're not experiencing the same thing right
Yeah.
now. Like, what is happening? I don't understand. So yeah, this is definitely, if you're an OG, a CrossFit OG, you'll understand what I'm saying when I say that this was definitely a classic back in the day, when it comes to movement combinations, and then there's just a little skill twist thrown in there. So those are the 3 events that have been announced. When are the next 3 coming out?
So it's going to be towards the back end of April. We're going to announce them. So it's going to be after the t-shirt cutoff. You do need to commit if you want to do it and get a t-shirt. Yep. But we do believe in, I don't, there's nothing to hide, right? The test is going to be the test is going to be the test. I rather people train for it. That way they can come show their best effort. And I like just getting it out there.
Yeah, and there's no, I mean, I'll put people's minds at ease, but not their hearts. Like, there's no silly shit that we aren't announcing that would be like, oh, I can't do this. I'm not going to sign up for it. It's going to be very hard.
Single leg triple unders.
Yes. Running. Yeah, running. I don't know. You have to spin the rope 5 times under for every jump while you're running.
The moving.
Feet unbroken in one jump.
Yeah. And there's no floater event that I could sneak in and win. That also typically means it's a decent competition. I used to be able to win all of the floaters and then come in last in all the other events. I love me like a.
Where'd that one rep max clean and jerk come from?
13 seconds. It's like, how fast can you push this sled like 40 feet? It's like,
the furthest med ball throw.
Dude, exactly. Softball toss. Count me in.
Lipa, please.
Oh, damn. I still wish that wasn't scrubbed for the internet. I hope someone has that still. What you got, Sam?
Just we can give a shout out to the media team. I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if we didn't just highlight the people that are working the competition. I know some of them, I don't know all of them, but I trust that the ones I do know, you're already in really good hands, and the additional ones, they're going to be a good support system to the Purple Mountain Throwdown media team. I'll pull up the post real quick.
Yeah, man, I like I said, I feel extremely blessed. One of my best friends, Jonathan Ortega, is going to be our media coordinator for year 2 once again. He has assembled a amazing team of photographers and videographers. We have enough people to cover all 3 of our active floors throughout the whole thing, and then some. So one of the best things of last year, and one of the things we wanted to continue when we were creating this event is, media tells stories, media captures moments, and media is super important for competitions, because people might not think about it or might not like consider it, but you want those moments. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be able to remember, what you did when you held on for that last burpee bar muscle up and the crowd cheers and you ran back, and these guys are there to capture that moment. So the media package is available now. There's photo and video packages for anyone that does sign up. There's like special things you can customize as well. John and the team for PMT Media, it's very very open to working with you, and just reach out, man. It's so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys have done a really good job of, like, a lot of times that's your entry point, right? Like, people haven't heard about this competition, a friend shares it, something like that, and being able to have, just the graphical elements and in the video and the photo, I think, gives you a little bit of a leg up to start, because, like, the amount of shit that's running through everybody's feed nowadays is so overwhelming that you got to find a way to stand out for sure.
100%.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for final thoughts. I'll kick it off just by sort of reiterating that it's been cool to watch this process. Over the last 5-6 years, I've gotten to know Shep a little bit, and was really blown away by, like, his level of organization. And he sort of alluded to the fact that, like, hey, this is something that, like, I came into with that skill set, and that was very evident. And then that second hurdle would be, was it worth it, and are you going to do it again, right? Like, that's something that, like, like, really matters. So to know that you're super organized, and really on top of your shit, and learned a ton from last year, I think that's super exciting. And the workouts are, we were able to one of the things we talked about last year was not, like, making sure the programming was good but not complicated, and not worrying about getting every possible weird piece of equipment there. And the fact that we were able to iterate on that and add some elements, I think is really cool. But it's just, it's couplets, triplets, you've got a lift, you've got, some skills in there, all that stuff. You're going to be tested. And the order of events, I think, will the leaderboard will not continue to look the same, which I think is really fun at competitions. You wouldn't want to lead someone down a path where it was very clear, I think, right off the bat, in those first 2 or 3 events. And I think it's going to be a tale of 2 different days, and someone's ability to really bring it on that second day to kind of follow up a good performance on day 1 and day 2, which could have to do with the programming, and also could just have to do with how fit you are. And last but not least, calling all misfits, whether it's this year, whether it's next year. Would love to get a lot of misfits out to the competition, so that we can justify getting ourselves out there, and again, just, hanging out with everybody and cheering you guys on and helping you with strategy and all that good stuff would be really great.
Yeah, I think my final thoughts are just along the lines of, like, good luck, have fun for a second year in a row. I think it's always, like, I got to imagine you feel at least a little bit more confident going in, as far as the preparation and the just knowing what, like, kind of lessons learned from the last time you did it, and also understanding the military background, like, that's when it comes to competitions, albeit much smaller at the home gym, like, my brain is almost exclusively dialed into, like, like the logistics of how this is supposed to work and get set up. And I think that makes, honestly, I think like that makes for like that's arguably the best way to have for people to have a good experience is like, does this run on time? Does this run efficiently? There's always going to be there's not going to be a single event where somebody doesn't complain about a judge, or, a judge doesn't give a wrong no rep or something like that. And that's just the inherent nature of CrossFit competitions. And so I think the fact that you have the mindset of like, let's make this smooth, let's make this run like efficiently. Like, I think all of the other stuff becomes so much easier when those sorts of things are in play. So good luck, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, dude, crush it and best of luck.
No,
Final thoughts, Preston?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I remember when we first came up with the idea for the Purple Mountain Throwdown. I like took out the whiteboard and I just created a whole bunch of workouts. Like I created like 6 workouts really fast. And I was sitting there and I was showing my wife, and she said, "Hey, have you ever considered like outsourcing the workouts?" And I was like, you know what? I think that's an amazing idea, and I feel truly blessed and super grateful that Drew, you and Hunter and the whole Misfit team, that we have that relationship, and that I could text you and be like, "Hey, I have this idea. This is what we're driving towards. I would love nothing more than to use Misfit programming for this competition, because I believe in this program and I believe in this training methodology that Misfit puts out, and I think we could create a great competition. And your guys' willingness just to support the idea that we had here for year 1 and year 2, and just to be there as like a sounding board as we move through battling what is logistics versus stimulus versus programming overall. You guys have been amazing, and this community has been amazing. I want to give a huge shout out to all the Misfits that did come last year. Cause we definitely did have some Misfits travel out. We had Tony, Xander was emceeing for us. Xander's coming back as an MC this year, which is going to be awesome. And I just think it's going to be a great time, and I really would love to see, the program that I've been following since 2017, and the people that I've been associating with since 2017. Use us. That's what we're creating this for. Use it as a chance to come together and hang out, and let's make this a Misfit thing. I do want to say, Seb, I know I sent it to you. I don't know where you're going to post it, but if you are listening to this podcast, until we close registration, the promo code PMT Misfit 25 is going to be available for any Misfit listening to this podcast to sign up and get discount for signing up for the competition. We have individual and team competition, teams of 2. We have a co-ed division this year as well too for those teams. So like I'm just pumped for it, man. I'm just excited.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll give the details here in a second, but just, we say it very often, and sometimes people take us up on it and sometimes people don't. Supporting the people that support us means a lot. Like, this is definitely for us a two-way street. So, you come into a bunch of events and following the programming and posting about us on social media, and the people that take that extra leap to put themselves out there into the community and maybe help some others along, I think is incredibly important, because it's not, we're not always going to feel comfortable to do so. And I think that you've been kind of an integral part of that. So we appreciate it and want to support what you do, just as a way to say thanks. So the purplemountainthrowdown.com, June 21st through the 22nd in Colorado Springs. Purple Mountain _throwdown on Instagram if you just want to click some links and bios to get signed up. Signups are going to be open here for a while, but the t-shirt deadline is April 15th. And the promo code that I've already forgotten that he's going to tell you what it is again here in a second is going to get you a little bit of a discount. So get signed up. Let us know. Force us to hop on an airplane and come out and see you in Colorado.
Yeah, let's do it. PMT Misfit 25.
Beautiful. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Misfit podcast, misfitathletics.com, 7-day free trial for off-season block number 1. teammisfit.com. Click on sign up now, and you will be taken to a place where you can get a 14-day free trial, push press, stream fit, and sugar wad. Thank you for joining us, Preston. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.